Hi everyone, we are so back for an episode of Off the Record with... Hi everyone, we are so... Hi everyone, we are so back for an episode of Off the Record with special guest Esmod.
What's up?
This is Off the Record with Emma Van Dongen.
You ain't got that dog like it's wild, man. You know I'm raw. Don't mess with that stick. If it's on, let me see you. Stand up like a man.
Are you ready for the challenge?
I'm ready for the challenge.
Out of this entire music library, I am going to ask you to find an album with a face on it that you've listened to and that you love, and you're going to tell me why you love it.
Album, face, that I've listened to, that I love.
Yes.
Got it.
All right, and you're going to have 5 minutes. 5 minutes. All right, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Set timer for 5 minutes. Go! Alright, so since I'm not going to have you spin like I typically do when people lose a challenge, because, you know, one person, why would we lose a challenge?
Yeah.
I'm going to have you mog instead. You ready?
Mog.
Yeah, you don't know how to mog?
No, I know. I think I know how to mog.
3, 2, 1.
Keep going.
Okay, I got the Bell album by Al Green. My criteria was to find a face, found a face, and album I listened to that I love.
Beautiful face it
and
is.
I did. I do adore this album. I love Al Green's entire discography, but this album in particular has a special place in my heart because when I was living in my first apartment at the 9, I got my first record player, and one of my friends had this record. I didn't own it, but he had it, and he would come over, and we would just throw it on like after class in the middle of the night, and just like lay on the fucking floor, and we would just be bumping this, and I don't know, you know, it was a good time for sure. So this album has a special place in my heart.
Period.
Yeah.
Okay, so your new album, Safe Travels, just came out. How you feeling?
I'm happy. It's everything that I wanted it to be, and we made it in record time. We started the we started the album on August 1st, and it came out on
That soon. Now I knew you said record time, but I didn't know August 1st record time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We had 4 of the 9 songs written by August 1st, so it wasn't completely from scratch by then. But we still did have over half the album to write and all of it to record and all of it to mix. And it came out on the 12th.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And you were still working on it like a week before too, right?
The night before.
The night before.
I submitted it to DistroKid at 1:30 p.m. for it to come out at 11 p.m. that night.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's how I do these, low-key.
Yeah, we
Come on, load.
It was a crazy heist. It pulled me out of social life for the entire month and a half of that time, and I had to pour every single bit of my essence into it to make it happen in that amount of time. But I'm really happy with how it came out.
So it's all about you moving to Chicago soon enough.
Yes.
Yeah. What made you choose Chicago?
Well, one thing, I'm a East Coast guy, right? But in all the major East Coast cities, I've got family there, and I didn't want to go somewhere where there were people that I knew because I wanted to move. If I was gonna move out of Memphis completely, I wanted to go somewhere that would force me to grow. And you know, I've got like family in Boston and New York and Philadelphia and Georgia, Atlanta, and all that things. And I was like, I don't want to go somewhere where there's something I could rely on because I'm going to get comfortable. And I want to get as uncomfortable as possible. I also don't want to move to the West Coast, and I want to get out the South. So the next most major city that I could go to that met all of that criteria was Chicago, and that way I can go there and be somewhere that's really gonna force me to get out of my bubble, because there's nobody I know there. And
Nobody?
Then, no. Well, I mean, there's people, but nobody I'm close to
Right.
that I can like call and be like, yo, what are you doing? You want to hang out? Because I ain't doing nothing today. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, but also because the hip hop scene that's in Chicago, I feel like it celebrates the type of music I make a whole lot more. Because the big artists that come out of that city are like, you know, Chance the Rapper, No Name, Saba, and they all get rewards like Chicagoan of the Year for making music that is really honest about mental health and the political health of the world and those type of things. And to make hip hop music that forces people to think is a normal thing over there that is celebrated. Whereas when I make that type of music here in Memphis, it's always an exception. It's always like, oh, this is cool, man. This is different. I ain't never heard anything like this. This is different. And I'm like, I'm glad, but it's still not like.
It should be accepted.
Yeah. Like it's accepted as an exception.
Right.
And not for what it is. That's the one thing about moving to a different city as a creative. If you're not known nationally, you can make a bunch of progress in a city, right? And get really well known in this city, and you can book a show that'll get sold out in said city and then go move somewhere else and nobody knows you, right? And you can't just throw out a flyer saying, I got a show at this venue, y'all pull up. I mean, nobody, who's gonna show up, right?
Yeah.
And that's the one trade-off. You know, when you have like a pretty corporate job, you can say, oh, I worked at this company, here's my resume. They're like, okay, this guy's experienced, you get plugged in, whatever. But when you're a creative trying to make a creative living, you basically are starting completely over every time that you move somewhere brand new. And on one hand, the thought of that was scary, because I'm like, man, I've spent years building up what I've built that I have here in Memphis. And the idea of having to start completely over, I was not thrilled about, but now I am. Because I'm like, that, to me now it sounds like a fun challenge. And I would want to see how long it would take me to redo it all.
You were talking about your influences earlier.
Yeah.
Who are your influences stylistically?
My biggest inspirations for the rap side of my music is definitely like Joey Badass. He's this artist out of New York, from Brooklyn. He's got this collective called Pro Era, and I love everything that group makes. I love all of their music. It's like, you know, like boom bap-ish, like real old school New York, like true roots of hip hop New York music. And I've always enjoyed the music that comes out of that group. There's another artist named Odyssey. He's not as well known. He's from the DMV, and he's this like 40-year-old Muslim Sudanese rapper, but he is so sick. He doesn't curse in his music at all, and he raps a whole lot about like the political state of the world and about like mental health and inner turmoil, things that are hard for us to navigate as human beings if you're not taught these things. And you can be taught those things and still have to live through it in order to learn that lesson. And his music is all about that type of stuff, mental consciousness, mental well-being. And if I could pick one mentor in all of music, it would be him.
Odyssey?
Yeah, he's like my dream collaboration if I had to pick one. And because he, I feel like, has mastered the balance of what it's like to uphold your values, not only religiously, but as just a human being, and as an artist, and as a person who's like from a different city, from a different country. And the blend that he has built his lifestyle in is exactly what I'm going for. And I take a lot of my inspiration from him as well. Non-rap influences, I love Hiatus Coyote. Hiatus Coyote is one of my favorite bands ever.
Dude, they're so cool.
They're so good, and their music is so complex, and they have so many different sections and breakdowns that you get like 5 or 6 different songs in one. And then I'd say, if I had to pick one more, have you ever heard of the band Moonchild?
Briefly. I don't think that I could like name a singular one of their songs though.
That's okay. I love that band as well. So like Joey Bad, Odyssey, Hiatus Coyote, Moonchild, those type of people, like I love those.
Do you have an inspiration for your violin playing?
Not a violinist, but I practice most with Studio Ghibli music. Yeah. So like Yuji Nomi and Joe Hisaishi composition, like I play them and listen to them more than anybody. And actually before my shows, to get myself in the right headspace for a show that I want to do, I listen to the Ghibli soundtracks.
Really?
Yeah.
I've noticed you're a big Ghibli fan because you have Ghibli nights at Esmod Enterprises. Dude, tell me more about that. How'd you start that?
Oh yeah. Okay. So, I've always thrown events in my garage for a long time, but recently we started and ended a creatives series for the art community, and it started with this thing that I did back in 2023, winter of 23. I did this thing called the Artist Open Discussion, and it was an event that formed on accident. So I used to work at this studio in Bartlett, and one night I had the studio, and I was like, I'm just gonna make a bunch of music. And I couldn't come up with anything, and I was like, I kind of feel like seeing people today, though, but I don't want to leave the studio. I want to do something.
Right.
So I just invited as many of my rap friends as I could to come out, and maybe we could work on something. But instead, we ended up just sitting down and having a conversation. And it was like a much-needed conversation that we had to have. And it was like an all-men space where we could really sit down and talk about what it's like to navigate our lives as artists, as musicians, as people who have to be active on social media and present ourselves a certain way and those type of things. And, there's a lot of things that come with having to pick a life like that. And we had that conversation, loved it. And then I ended up doing another one like the next month at my house. So it was going to be a monthly thing. And then the people really enjoyed the impact of it the first 2 times we had it in 23. And then the third time I had it, nobody was able to show up. So then I just took a break. And then I started hosting a bunch of different events at my house weekly for like the winter, and then I did some more over the summer, stopped, and then this May, well, all of the beginning of this year, me and my friends that I hang out with, we just kept complaining about like, oh, there's no more open mics, we're losing all of our venues, like Carolina
No more open mics.
Yeah, like Carolina Watershed shut down, Rail Garden shut down, Black Lodge shut down, and it was like boom, 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 we're just losing all these big, nice, and notable venues.
Carolina Watershed shut down?
They're back.
They're back?
They just got back. But they were out of business for a while.
Why?
I don't know. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place.
It's a gorgeous place.
Yeah. And so we didn't have Carolina Watershed. Craft Acts had this like Friday open mic. That was no longer a thing. Society, the skate park, also shut down around that time. And it was just like thing after thing after
Bell
thing
Tower
after
open
thing.
mic.
Yeah, like we were just losing everything. And we were just like, man, there's nothing here anymore. Like, we used to have an open mic 4, 5, 6 times a week, and this other monthly open mic at the High Tone that was always popping. And all of that was just, we were just losing it, and we just kept complaining about it. We're like, man, like, we need to do better. Like, the city is just losing all of its stuff. We should leave. This is this. And at some point, I was like, okay, are we going to keep complaining about this? Or are we going to do something about it?
this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then finally, I was like, well, let's just start with doing the Artist Open Discussion again. And I had 8 people come, closed invite only.
Closed invite?
Yeah, just to see like what would happen. You were there.
I was there.
And it went really well. It went really well, and I don't know what possessed me to make an Instagram reel about it, because Instagram reels were not my thing. But I made a video about it, and it was like a little recap video that was under a minute of like, this is what we did. And everybody's like, oh my God, can you do more of this? And I was like, sure.
Wow.
Yeah, so initially we were going to have, and it was every single Thursday night at 7 o'clock we would have something in my garage so that we couldn't complain anymore about there's nothing to do. So I was like, okay, if anybody is saying, oh, there's nothing to do anymore, now you can guarantee 100% that every single Thursday night in the same exact room that we will be having something going on. And we did that for 22 weeks straight before we ended the series this past Wednesday. And yeah, at first we were just gonna do the same 4 events every month. Like, okay, so the first Thursday of every month is the discussion. The second Thursday of every month is gonna be an open mic, and the third one is gonna be some ticketed event, and that's just like the rotation we're gonna have. And at some point I was like, okay, this is cool, but it's gonna get boring really fast. And I wanted to creatively challenge myself, so I was like, okay, well, what can I do to force myself to grow in this situation? And I was like, okay, what if I try to come up with a new event every single week? And that really, I think, pulled the best out of me in a way that if we were to do a simple rotation, it wouldn't have been nearly as challenging. And so we ended up doing like art therapy nights and poetry workshops, and then the Studio Ghibli nights, and just anything that we could do to engage the community in something that was community related and art related and active, and game nights, and something that people could enjoy and meet people and make friends and leave with something that was impactful. And it ended up being a hit.
Did anyone ever like come up to you and say anything that like made you like really want to keep going with it?
Every week.
Every week?
I don't think there was a single week where somebody did not come to say like, yo, I really appreciate this event, or it impacted me in this kind of way. And I was starting to see people make friends actively, and like I would look at people who were regulars at my event that didn't know each other before that, and then I would see them like working together on stuff or hanging out with each other on their stories and things like that, and it was sweet. And I was like, okay, this is doing something. It's not like a call that's falling on deaf ears. And people regularly telling me the ways that the events would impact them really made me feel good. And especially when we did things that would dive in really deep, like the art therapy nights or like the poetry workshops, where we had prompts about like, write a poem about your first ever memory that you can recall, or write a poem about the last time you felt proud of yourself. And the people were like, this really healed me in a lot of ways, or it helped me realize certain things about myself. And when you're getting told that every week, it's kind of hard to like let that type of thing go. And even editing the series was just like a tearjerker, because I was like, I don't want to stop doing this, but I do have to move on.
Yeah. Do you think that you're going to continue it in Chicago, or?
I don't know. Not for a while, at least, because now it's my turn to be an attendee. It's my turn to be the community member that is watching somebody else lead, and I don't want to go there and just start calling shots, in a place that I'm not from. And I'll see for sure. I would be interested, but I'm primarily moving to Chicago for opportunities in music.
Yeah.
And so I think I need to focus on that first, because being an event host, especially a weekly event host, that takes a lot of time and energy. Yeah, especially like without a super designated team. So, I'd say I'm going to wait a little bit for sure.
Fair enough. I mean, you've got tour to worry about.
Yeah, I do.
It starts on this Thursday.
This Thursday.
You're going all week.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about tour.
Yeah. So me and my friend Ja are hitting the road. He was my DJ for the first tour I did last year, and that was a group tour that I went on with Music Export Memphis. And then
Shout out Music Export.
Shout out Music Export. And so they sent us on a group tour. It was me, 2 other singers, and so Ja was my selected DJ that I took with me, and we have done like a bunch of shows since then. And this year I was like, hey, want to do it again? And he was like, yeah. So he and I are going to Nashville, Birmingham, and Atlanta. The whole thing is entirely self-booked. And that...
Wow.
Yeah, that was a hassle. Trying to finish an album while booking a tour for an album that doesn't exist yet was hard.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because we were booking the tour like in between like songs at the studio session. So we would finish up something, and while my friend Ladero would be prepping the next session, I'm sending emails. Or like right before, or I'd be like on the phone with a venue and they're asking me details, and I'm like, all right, trying to wrap that up so that we can get back in and do it. And I don't have anything to send them of like, yeah, we're going on tour with this album. It's also not here.
It doesn't exist yet.
Yeah. And that was like hard, but it was fun. And it was really gratifying to be able to book my own tour myself and pay for it myself.
Wow. Out of pocket?
Out of pocket.
Oh god.
Out of pocket. That was how I had to pick up a second job.
Yeah.
But like I picked up a second job to fund said tour, and and I'm excited to see it hopefully pay off.
All right.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the biggest difference between Safe Travels and your previous album? Like stylistically?
They're 2 completely different things. I've asked people like, oh, which one do you like more? And they're like, I can't compare them because it wouldn't be fair.
Yeah.
So the tone of both albums is also completely different. The first album I dropped was called Table for One, and it was a 40-minute project that was really, really, really hyper personal. Like it was me directly telling like my life story up until that point, and it was very me-centric, and obviously because it's about me, but it was like lyrically and energetically very focused about me. A lot of the songs were very sad and mellow and slow, and it was not a super duper upbeat project. Versus this album is much lighter, like, and it's also listener centric too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this album is all about the listener, whereas the first album was all about them, like understanding me. It was all about me, And a lot of the words that I do use in this album are literally directly speaking to the person who is listening to the project.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, when you like write these like positive like affirmation type lyrics, do you like write it initially for yourself or do you write it for the listeners?
I think I write it for the listeners, but where I come up with them is it is something that I need to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it serves its purpose in both ways, for sure. But when I do write them, I am thinking about what is it that I want people to know or hear or think. And that usually stems from me figuring out what I need to learn, hear, or think first, living that, understanding the importance of it, and then pushing along the wisdom. The whole thing that I was saying earlier was like always trying to find a way to push myself out of my comfort zone. And it was like, okay, I want to do music and like full time, and there's all these like goals that I have and the impact that I want to have on the world and these type of things. And it's like, okay, so what are we doing to make those things happen? For example, like the event series where we're just like, oh, we're just complaining. It's like, okay, well, what are we going to do about it, right? And when I finally had that thing click where I was like, okay, this is something that I want from my city. What can I do to make that happen? And starting to take actionable steps there, it only has that trickle-down effect where now I'm taking actionable steps in every other aspect of my life where I say, if there's anything that I want to make happen, anything that I want to see, instead of waiting for somebody else to do it or saying, this is what we need, like, what am I going to do about it? And living that experience every week with the event series and the way that kind of bled into other aspects of my life, that is what gave me the experience to even be able to share the things that I said on the album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in Table for One, did it ever jar you, like, being so personal?
At the time, no. Not even really now, because I think to have the courage to put out something that personal, like, would I ever go out of my way to tell people those details about my life in a conversation?
No.
No. I am very, like, to myself when it comes to personal details about my life. But then you can go listen to this album and hear everything about my life in one go. But I'm like, at that point, if you take the time to listen to it and digest it, you've earned it. So I'm not upset about it. But as much as I do like to keep my things private, and there is an aspect of me that I wouldn't say that I wish that it's not out, but there's an aspect of me that does not want it to be out. I'm leaving it because there's a lot of people who have reached out to me saying, oh, I went through the same thing, or I had the same type of, growing up dynamic with my family, or I went through this same thing, and listening to you talk about it helped me feel seen or heard. And to me, that is more rewarding to be vulnerable and honest and leave all my life details out for the public for it to have that impact, instead of keeping it to myself for my own comfort and then somebody that may need to hear it not getting to experience that type of thing.
Yeah. So what would you say is the most personal song on Safe Travels?
Ooh. That's a good one, because even the more so for Table for One, all the personal songs were extremely direct.
Yeah.
Like, it is me very verbatim saying, this happened, then this happened, then this happened.
Right.
Like, but for the more serious things that I did talk about on this project, I used metaphors.
You blinked it in it.
Yeah, I blended it in. On one of the songs called Playing for Keeps, I said, give the music a message and put it behind a sample, sneak in a couple lessons and blend it into the rhythm. And that was really the focus of this project, was to make it as easy of a listen as possible and as digestible of a listen as possible, while still covering things, but not making it but still making it easy to listen to. So to say, I'd say the most personal song on the project might be called The Long Road. I think that's the most serious one on the project as well. Yeah. And that one is all about, when you make a lot of mistakes in your life, it sucks, but it teaches you everything you need to know to get to where you want to go. And then when you want to go somewhere, understand that the higher of a goal you're aiming for, the longer it's going to take to get there, and the more difficult it's going to take to get there too. And understanding that that's part of the journey is the difficulty. And, because a lot of people say, say you say, oh, I want to be this great musician, I want to do these big tours and all that stuff, and they're like, yeah, it's hard now, but it'll get easier. That's not true.
Nope.
It does not get easier, especially if you keep on pushing your limits and striving beyond what you are currently capable of to find out what you really are capable of, and then going even beyond that. It's supposed to get more difficult. And if it is getting easier, it's because you're not risking enough at all. And when the things do feel like they're getting easier, it's not because they are actually getting easier, you're just getting better. You're getting smarter, you're getting wiser, you're getting more skilled at what you do, so you're able to handle more difficult things better. But to get to that point, you have to go through some really, really, really difficult stuff. And for one example, there's this music festival that I've been helping run for the past 3 years called Mighty Roots Music Festival.
I just heard about that, yeah.
Yeah. So I work for a company called Resource Entertainment Group.
Right.
And I've been doing sound production and stage managing and team leading, those type of things with that company for the last 3 years. And last year they had me and my good friend Ryan Cleaver in charge of running sound for Saturday and Sunday, but no, it was a Friday, Saturday festival. So on Friday, we were there, and we were given a board that we had no idea how to use, right? It was, a lot of stuff happened. All the headliners, they were supposed to be on this big main stage outside. It rained out. They all got moved into our stage. A different team was supposed to be handling the headliners. We ended up having to handle the headliners.
Oh, shit.
And we were, like, stressed. We were like, oh, my God, we were about to ruin this festival. We had no idea what we were doing, but we cracked down and handled everything, and it went as smooth as it could have, and we were really proud of ourselves, but it was really, 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 really difficult.
Was that this year?
That was last year.
Okay.
This year, we actually had like 2 or 3 times the workload that we had last year, but we have been like working and training together, me and him specifically, for a whole year, and like we crushed it this year. But it's not because, thank you. And we were thinking about like, man, this year is just so much easier, man, like, wow. And then we like kind of compared what we had to do last year versus what we had to do this year, and we're like, oh, it's not easier. We actually had way more work to do this year than we had to do last year, but we were just way better at our jobs. But that felt good. And that's another example of like, did things necessarily get easier? No. But did we get better, and could we have handled it better? Yeah, and we did. And that's what the whole premise of the long road is about, is saying like, the journey there is going to be a really difficult one if being the best is what you want. And you need to know in your mind that it is not going to be an easy thing, but that's the point. That's literally the whole point, is it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. You're supposed to have a breakdown every once in a while when you're biting off more than you can chew, but eventually you get there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I have one more question to ask you before the off-the-record question.
Yeah.
And that is, why is New World Order the outro? Because I figured that Homecoming Safe Travels would be the outro the way that it's built.
Yeah.
Melly's doing the whole, what's it called, the airplane speech.
Yeah.
Shout out Melly, I love her.
Our artificial flight attendant.
Yeah. So why is New World Order 2 the outro?
It's funny, I was actually just talking to somebody about this.
Really?
In terms of the narrative of the project, Homecoming Safe Travels is the final song in the storyline. New World Order is more of like a bonus track on the project, but I think it takes everything that was said on the project and giving it a triumphant end and just like a pretty high energy, fun finish. I didn't label it as a bonus track because I didn't want people to not take it as seriously.
Yeah.
Because it's really easy to be like, oh, it's just a bonus track, we'll move on. I wanted people to really listen to the whole entire thing. And funny enough, the album was actually written in reverse. So New World Order 2 was the first song that was written on the project, and then The World Is Waiting, which is the second track, was the first song that was ever written. I mean, the very last song that I wrote. Yeah. And the reason why New World Order was put at the end was because it just ties everything up together, and I tried to find a place to put it that was not at the very end, and it didn't really fit narrative-wise. And I think that with the way that the album flows, I think it's just a really strong finishing song in terms of like sequencing and playlisting and those type of things. But in the storyline of the project, the narrative, the lyrical narrative of the project, Homecoming is technically the end of the album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ready for the off-the-record question?
I'm ready for the off-the-record question.
All right. What is your deepest fear about moving to Chicago?
I don't have any.
None?
None. Because, I mean, if it all goes to shit and I lose all my dollars and I have to come back, I like Memphis, so cool. But for me, I really do believe in high risk, high reward, and I understand that it'll be my first time living alone, and I'm taking my 2 cats with me, and I mean, my biggest concern is that they're able to eat.
Really?
That's it. So as long as I get there and I'm able to make enough money to keep a roof over my head and keep my cats fed, I'm cool. Everything else I'll handle, and anything that's supposed to happen will happen in due time. And I've never been to Chicago before in my life.
You're moving to you're moving to a city you've never been to before?
That is what the lyrics said.
Yeah.
Gonna catch a plane up to a place I've never been before.
Yeah,
today.
I was gonna ask you about that. I totally forgot.
No, you're good. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You still haven't been there?
Still haven't. I was supposed to. You know what? I was supposed to go in August from the 15th to the 20th, and I was supposed to go tour some apartments there. But then we ended up getting booked for the release show at Minglewood Hall.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I should probably stay put and make sure that we do that the right way. Because Minglewood was like my big dream venue that I wanted to do besides the Shell. And I told myself that I was not allowed to move out of Memphis until I was able to book a show at Minglewood.
Really?
Yeah. So then I did book a show at Minglewood for the album release party. And that was like the end goal. That was like the last thing that I was like, okay, if I can do this, I've done everything I want to do in Memphis. And that was it. So when we got that email saying, yeah, let's do it, I was like, okay, I need to stay and make sure that this goes exactly the way it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because there was a lot of money on it. Because I was like, okay, let me make sure I don't go like super duper negative on this show and really take my time to make sure that it goes right. So I canceled my trip, and that would have been my first time going. But, I mean, this whole entire move is just a blind faith thing. Like, it feels like the right thing to do. When I have a gut feeling about something that is unexplainable, I don't question it. And I'm like, okay, I have a feeling that this is where I'm supposed to go. And it's a strong gut feeling that it's supposed to be this specific place for whatever reason, so I'm just going to trust it. And whatever happens, happens. Whatever doesn't happen, happen. And whatever comes my way, I will take care of it. So my biggest concern is that my cats have food and water, but, I mean, I'm not afraid of anything. I don't have any fears. It's not like, oh, what if I move and it doesn't work out, I got to come back. Like, fuck yeah, let's come back to Memphis. Why not?
Back to Fort Doug.
Yeah, but at least we tried, and the whole point was just to go attempt. And if it pays off, awesome. If not, we'll just try again, and try again, and try again, and try again. As long as I'm alive, I have an infinite amount of time while I'm breathing an infinite amount of attempts while I'm breathing to try whatever I want to try. So, knowing that, I can't realistically be afraid of anything. Because if it doesn't work, we get to do it again, and we get to do it again, and we get to do it again. And there's nobody telling us, oh, just because it didn't work the first time doesn't mean that we can't just try it a second time.
That's a great life motto.
Yeah, if I run out of money, I'll make some more money, I'll move out again.
Do you have like a place to stay while you're looking for apartments?
No, I'm going to go there as soon as one of my applications gets approved.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm here until I get, and I have a couple of applications that are out, but like as soon as one of them gets back to me saying like, yeah, cool, we're out of here. And we're just going to ride that wave until the wave dies down and we're back on the shore.
Well, shit.
Or we're in the middle of the ocean and we got to swim back to the shore, and then we'll try it again.
Hopefully you have safe travels.
Smooth, very smooth.
All right, well, thank you, Esmod, so much.
Thank
this
you,
has been amazing.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. Thank you for having me on here. This was a ball.
Anytime. Come back when you're back from Chicago for a bit.
I will.
Keep it cool, keep it weird, keep it
Off
the record.
Beautiful.
Bye. Catch you on the flip side.
With the